From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. With incredible great news about Street for Stimulus and also the incredible great news about CR for Stimulus in this recording. We're going to go over the recon that passed in the House that is now in the Senate. We'll get those big Senate changes, and we'll add lots of checks in there as Joe Biden has now signaled he wants those checks to go out. He wants those checks to go out that has at least $15,000 in there with third stimulus on top of that, and also the potential MSC on top of that. But can the President of the United States do student loan debt forgiveness by an executive order? Can he do this stimulus by an executive decree? We analyze the new data today in the face of a lot of breaking, developing news across the board. We'll be looking at what the Federal Reserve said about those interest rate spikes, and could there be no less than 5 this year? Oh my goodness. We have the latest update about those Russian troops at the Ukrainian border that could impact your wallet. The latest on what's going on with inflation and the cause for concern about inflation and why consumer sentiment is falling. And we have new economic data that could signal why the push is important to get that recon over the finish line. And then we have new indication of the impact of the recon on Kristen Sinema's campaign donations. We got a big broadcast, and it's live and direct from Santa Monica, California. It's a Mornings LA with a lot of incredible great news as CR for Stimulus is heating up with a February deadline with that congressional budget bill. Boy, it's a big, exciting morning. It's a big, exciting day. I'm excited you're here. Let's get to all that incredible money, and the excitement starts right now. Hey, good morning, everybody. Here we are. The recon passed in the House of Representatives back in November and is now in the Senate. The Senate changes will be robust and will add lots of checks. This incredible recon on top of the existing $15,000 of checks and third stimulus on top of that. But what about that student loan debt forgiveness, the $10,000? Why has the president not done that deal? I'll have the latest analysis today. And fifth stimulus, brand new analysis on Mornings LA, why the president can do fifth stimulus by executive decree. Wow. We'll be looking at what's going on with those 100,000 troops potentially at the border of Ukraine with Russia and how it impacts your wallet. The surprise, as we thought that there may be 1 or 2 interest rate spikes in 2022, but now indication that there may be 5 in the year 2022. Oh my goodness. Are you ready for 5 quarter-point interest rate spikes? Because the toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing and the bacon, not so much. It's still missing. But with that, I want you part of this incredible family. We have a lot of brand new details, brand new and hitting this morning. And go under this video right now and subscribe. You're watching LA, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. A lot of breaking news across the board today, and you want to be part of this incredible family, so subscribe. Like the video, and consider becoming a member to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. And with that, we go over all the incredible money in this incredible recon one at a time. We're going to look at the 3 clusters and the 3 add-ons of checks. It's a great day, and I'm excited you're here. And let's go into all that incredible money. There is at least $15,000 of checks in this incredible recon before we start adding provisions in there. Let's go over the 3 clusters and the 3 add-ons. Here we go. Cluster number 1, got in there. Hazard pay for my earned income tax credit for my essential workers. 1 more year. To learn about it, go to irs.gov. Then they got $4,000 of elder care in there. $4,000 to care for young children. They got the CTC $3,600 in there as well. really incredible, great news. $550 check for the Pell Grant recipients. Then home repairs, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. It's just incredible. There is a lot of checks as Incredible Recon, and there's also 3 add-ons of checks. Wow, those 3 add-ons of checks are among the many checks that Joe Biden has told his press team, I want that checks to go out. I'm ready. We're going to go over all of those checks, but let's first now turn to the first add-on of checks, and they are this one. Comes from Southern California, Maxine Waters. She wanted to give you $25,000. She got a little bit less. This is money for your purchase of your first home. Really incredible. This is money given to the seller from the federal government in your name at the time of escrow. Now let's turn to the second cluster of checks. Paid leave and home repairs. These are to weatherize your home, but the paid leave is a lot of money. How much is it? It is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If your annual salary is $35,000 or more per year, it's $800 a week. If your annual salary is $15,000 or more per year, it is $400 a week. How many weeks? Up to 4 weeks per year. W-2 1099, you all qualify, whether you're an Uber or Lyft driver or work at a department store. Now, if your son or daughter works but you don't work and you're all part of the same household, they're going to get the check if you get sick. Here's the issue. If you get sick but the son or daughter has to stay home from work, then they're going to get paid every day they have to stay home for work across the board. It's incredible. And with that, that tees up for us the second add-on of checks. Are you ready? I'm ready. It comes from Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, and it's $250 billion, just a little bit less, for free home health care and seniors on people on disabilities. There's a campaign promise from Joe Biden. Wow. That tees up the third cluster of checks. Here we go. It is the free internet, the money for the independent contractors, the money for the farmers, free school meals for all checks, $65 per month for nutrition when you're not in school. And then we also have the free internet and the benefits for the seniors. We have 2 benefits for seniors on the House side, but then 3, they're coming from the Senate side. We have a lot of details, a lot of checks coming up in this recording, and a lot of breaking news. Stay with me. Later in this recording, we're going to go over whether Vice President Harris is up for a Supreme Court nomination post, what's going on with the Chris and Sinema campaign donations, why are they drizzling and drying up, and then is crypto coming to Arizona? Wyoming? Oh my goodness. Now let's go to the third add-on of checks, and you know what it is. Say it with me if you're in the live chat right now. You know those 3 letters, you know them by heart, and you know what they mean. But what are they and how do they pay? They are MSC. They stand for multiple or monthly IRS stimulus check. It's important to understand that they differentiate themselves from the other checks in the recon, because there are multiple checks in this fourth stimulus recon, $15,000 to $60,000 of checks. These are ones that come from IRS. And who gets it? Single individuals, $75,000 less annual income, you would get it. Married couple, $150,000 less annual income, you would get it. Double it. Family of 4, you would get it as well. Quadruple it. Any of our benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, you would get it as well. Adult dependents would also get it. It is not state benefits. It comes from the federal government, so every state would get it. It's not income. It's not taxable, and it's offered across the land. There you go. It goes off the last tax return, so that last tax return had a direct deposit account. That's how it would pay out. Who gets it and how does it get paid and how much is it? This all comes from those legislators. Those senators that told tens of thousands of viewers of this channel the same message since the month of May 2021, and they're still on message. They want to pay $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, 6 months, get it out. And there we go. But we're going to learn in this recording how MSC would come out, how it would not come out, and how it can come out faster than ever thought. Let's examine all that, and some of this is brand new right now on Mornings LALATE, and it heats up first with how it was originally envisioned to be added in there. And there was the incredible Build Back Better Act. So far in this incredible recon, we have been going over a body of legislation we refer to the recon. But it's formally the Build Back Better Act passed in the House of Representatives in the month of November. Now in the Senate, modifications that would add in there all those provisions for senators, all the stuff that Ron Wyden and Bob Casey want to add in there, would be added in the Senate, including that MSC. Where? During Senate subcommittee. They send it to the Senate subcommittee and add provisions in there. Then when they're done, they have a Senate bill. Then the Senate bill goes for a vote. Then after the vote, they have the 2-day vote-a-rama. That's how they do it. That is how you add provisions on the Senate side, because even though we have a House bill passed, the senators want to add their provisions across the board. That's the Build Back Better Act. But can we do it faster, easier, quicker, with less dramatics of the progressives versus the moderate Democrats? We can. And it's called a CR for stimulus. Now let's examine what we're going to cover in the next part of this recording about how else to get the checks out besides added into the Build Back Better Act. First, we're going to examine CR for stimulus. Then we're going to examine the opportunity to repurpose existing money. Then we're going to examine the opportunity to change scaling eligibility and guidelines for existing programs that are already paying you money so that you get more money out the door. But I'm going to jump a little bit forward first and tell you one thing you absolutely cannot get a check for. Despite how many recordings I made brand new yesterday, how many I made the day before brand new, there were still viewers, subscribers, even members who are saying the president needs to do an executive order to send out an MSC. If you're a viewer of this channel, it's all about information. It's all about learning. It's about getting money, about getting cash in your wallet. And if you're a member, you're a subscriber, you know categorically you should never, ever, ever post, do an executive order for MSC. The President of the United States has absolutely no authority under the Constitution to go to the Department of Treasury, that building with the cash in it, grab it and mail it out to you. He has no authority. So the President cannot do executive order for 1 check or 50 checks. He never can. But he can do other things and get you money, just not that way. It's coming up in a second. But first, let's turn to the real point at hand right now. It's called CR for stimulus, and it's a way to get a check to your hand faster than the Build Back Better Act. The Build Back Better Act, when would the vote happen? How would the vote happen? Where would be the progressive versus moderate Democrats on the issue? So many questions. We don't have to answer those questions when we're doing CR for stimulus. The concept is very simple. There is a budget bill coming up in a few weeks, and the budget bill is to fund the federal government. It has a deadline. As a budget bill, they have to do this every 6 months. It's called a continuing resolution, also CR, and the deadline is a hard, fast rule. Miss it by a day, a few days, that's fine. Miss it by a week, still okay. Miss it by a month, not okay. Miss it by several months, the government shuts down. So they can't miss the deadline. Inserting provisions in it is what they have done historically. And this is why inserting a stimulus check in the CR makes sense. And guess what? We've done it before. In 2020, this channel made history. Because of my recordings, the American people got a $600 stimulus check in a continuing resolution that was done in December 2020. It was not a second stimulus check because the second stimulus package never happened. Let's go over what happened and signal why we have the opportunity in front of us once again. In 2020, I was recording updates about the second stimulus package proposed. An enormous body of legislation, 3,000 pages in length. And the negotiators, Steve Mnuchin on behalf of the Republicans, Treasury Secretary at the time, and Nancy Pelosi on behalf of the Democrats at the time. The negotiations continued in spring of 2020. No deal. This is after first stimulus was done. Summer, no deal. Fall, no deal. Winter, no deal. At that point, I said, this is a problem. The problem is that there's 2 people negotiating and there's no deadline. So I looked out there and I figured, where could I get a check into another body of legislation that has a hard, fast deadline? And I looked and I found it, a continuing resolution. As I've already explained to you, it has a hard, fast deadline. So I said, how about we make that recording? I prepared for the advocacy for it, and I also prepared how to react to the negative news of the recording. And then in December 2020, I went on air. I said, hey, it's LALATE again. I have an idea. The negotiations about the potential second stimulus package is stalled up, hasn't progressed, but we also don't have a deadline. What if we did have a deadline? What if we use another body of legislation called the continuing resolution? It then had a deadline in December 2020. I said, what if we put a stimulus check in that continuing resolution and advocate for its passage, which it has to be done by December 2020? Viewers, the purple power of this channel, adored the idea because it jumped us into another body of legislation away from the second stimulus package. It had a hard, fast deadline, and it didn't convolute or confuse the situation with a lot of external elements then at play. We pushed. It was a brand new recording. I came up with the idea, and immediately as soon as I delivered the idea, the naysayers were ready. You know what the naysayers said. I was prepared with my answer. They said it doesn't belong in there. A stimulus check for the American people cannot be in a continuing resolution because it's money. A continuing resolution is to fund the federal government. It's money for the federal government. You can't put money for the American people in that type of bill. My reaction, I was prepared. I said, you're right. It doesn't belong in there. That doesn't mean you can't do it. Since the beginning of time, Congress has passed legislation where they insert money into the legislation that doesn't belong in the legislation. And during the pandemic, they were doing that all the time. They had foreign money going to foreign military governments in COVID relief bills, not about COVID. They had money in there to build a new FBI building, not about COVID. And they also had in another COVID relief bill money for the Department of Copyrights, not about COVID. So I said, I know it does not belong in there. Doesn't mean you can't put it in there. Put it in there. And we woke up one morning and heard stimulus was going to be going into the CR. We thought we had a victory till we looked and we saw they were trying to do additional weeks of unemployment benefits. That's not what we asked for. We asked for a stimulus check and we pushed back and finally it happened. The continuing resolution, as anticipated, passed because the federal government cannot default. And the check was included and it was mailed out to you. It became the $600 stimulus check. And guess what? The second stimulus package never passed. We never had a second stimulus package. We never had a second stimulus bill. And we never had a second stimulus check. The actual check was in the CR. One Saturday ago, I said, what about the idea of doing it again now in 2022, bringing it back? And viewers love the idea because it looks much the same. 11 months of negotiations then in 2020, 11 months of negotiations now in 2022. Two people negotiating then, two people negotiating now, Joe and Joe. And number three, Americans need the money. So why does this make more sense today than ever before? You're going to see in the second half of this video why CR for stimulus can be coupled with two other ways the president can get you money, neither of which are executive orders, but are very, very easy. Then we're going to go over what the progressives are doing today, yesterday, and last week, which signals why CR for stimulus is needed so much across the board. We're going to go over what's happening with these 100,000 Russian troops that are at the border and how this can impact your wallet because it impacts inflation. Then we're going to go over why Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin would not be part of the CR for stimulus effort because we don't need them, and why Kristen Sinema's personal donations have gone dried up. Meantime, is Vice President Harris up for a Supreme Court nomination, or is that fake news? I have all those incredible details and more coming up in the second half, and I'll show you how to get thousands of dollars today from third stimulus. Oh boy, it's a big second half. I'm excited you're here. As Mornings LA continues live on air, stay with me. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as all the excitement continues direct and live from Santa Monica, California, with the toast toasting and the butter buttering on a big Mornings LA. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more.
Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now as Mornings LA continues in its big second half. We're going to go over that incredible recon that has passed in the House, is now in the Senate. It's the Build Back Better Act, but is there a way to do CR for stimulus and couple it with something else? Those Senate changes would be robust with the Build Back Better Act, and you could still do it after all this. Someone during the commercial break asked about these other add-ons and how the president can do it without the need of a CR, without the need of even a recon. I'll have the latest answer for you in today's recording. The programs, get your pen and paper ready, in this Build Back Better Act are incredible. $15,000 of checks, MSC. Then we have third stimulus repeating. No time to wait for fourth stimulus. You can get third stimulus today. I'm going to show you how. Student loan debt forgiveness. And then fifth stimulus. I'll analyze how to get your benefits raised up today, tomorrow, in a month, without the need of any of this. It's all streamlined in this recording. Will the president do it? I have all those details coming up. But first, I want you, part of this incredible family, go into this video right now and subscribe. You're watching LA, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. I want you, part of this incredible family, all the day long. Like the video and consider becoming a member to get the incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also sign up for those LALATE alerts, the link to which is under the video's description. And with that, we go into the big second half, starting where we left off with CR for stimulus. The reason why CR for stimulus makes so much more sense today than just 24 hours ago is because we have new indications today that signals that the progressives are really sort of getting into the woods of becoming very embattled for no particular reason. Pramila Jayapal yesterday, at the end of the day, featured on Evenings LA last night, said in a new comment that the Build Back Better Act will go for a vote by March 1st. Now, Nancy Pelosi laughed about the comment, literally, because the comment was ungrounded in any factual duration. March 1st, where's this date coming from? She called it, Nancy, an aspirational date. Pramila just picked it out of the sky. Pramila has no date or efforts to do anything with the moderate Democrats between now and March 1st. And Pramila is a House member. She's not a senator. Moreover, she doesn't govern when things are going for a vote in the Senate. That's Chuck Schumer. So this comes as Pramila has gone on the offensive against the moderate Democrats, and so has Bernie Sanders. In the last 2 days, Bernie Sanders has said a lot of the moderate Democrats' provisions have been removed. Untrue, says other Democratic senators, and they're right. Bernie Sanders said, for example, the SALT cap had been removed during negotiations. None of those events actually have occurred. Then Bernie Sanders said the SALT cap hurts the working American. It doesn't. And that it makes the rich people richer. It doesn't. So what does this do? It does a negative reaction to the Build Back Better Act, because the Build Back Better Act needs every Democratic vote. And the SALT cap is a provision that the moderate Democrats want in there. And to go after it makes no sense with Bernie Sanders. It comes after a week before that, where Ron Klain, the president's chief of staff, was pandering to the progressives and cuddling with Jayapal on the phone hours every single day and issuing hit pieces against Joe Manchin, the moderate Democrat, saying this is what's bad about Joe Manchin, this is what's bad about Joe Manchin. So why is CR for stimulus the beneficiary of this across the board? The reason why CR for stimulus is the beneficiary is that we don't have to deal with any of this with CR for stimulus. Continuing resolution is a very simple bill to fund the federal government, and you just add in a check. You don't have to hear about the moderates. You don't have to hear about the progressives. You just add in a check. It goes out. The continuing resolution budget bill that's at issue has a February deadline, and we just get it out, and gone goes the check. Not multiple checks, not $60,000 of checks, but just a check. It's so simple. Now, can the President of the United States do other things to get you money out the door? And the answer is yes. During the commercial break, I don't know if I can, I can pull it up. During the commercial break, Chrissy M asked a question. Could someone please answer me this? Are they doing the SSI reform with the income limit changed? So let me go over that. The SSI reform, there's two types of SSI reform that have been covered on the channel in the last year and a half. The first one, of course, is fist stimulus. The second one is the SS200. As I said 9,000 times, SS200 is dead. It's been dead for almost a year. It's not coming back from the grave. And you never should ask about SS200. Why? Because fist stimulus pays you tons and tons and tons of more money long-term lifetime than SS200. For some reason, SS200 had a really good press agent. It's fist stimulus that needs the better press agent because it pays you a lot more money. Now, you're learning for the first time in the morning's broadcast, but covered, of course, last night on Evenings LA, that the president can get you this SSI reform in part in less than 30 days. And he doesn't need a recon. He doesn't need a fifth stimulus. He doesn't need a moderate or progressive Democrat. He doesn't need a Republican. In fact, he doesn't need anything except his pen or telephone. What's at issue? The President of the United States has inherent authority on the Constitution to give guidance to agencies that determine under their charter agreement how to pay money. There's certain agencies out there that determine how to do certain things. SNAP is one of them. SSI, the Social Security Administration, is another one of them. FEMA, SBA, these are all different agencies that have a lot of inherent authority as to how to do things. The president can make recommendations. They can say, I don't like your recommendation, I'm not going to do it. Or they can adopt his recommendation. What are we talking about here? Well, here's the issue. Fifth stimulus, one of the major provisions of the fifth stimulus is to remove COLA as your benchmark for raising your benefits up each year and replacing it with inflation. Now, COLA, if you've not been watching it over the last few years, doesn't work. It came in at 5.9% in December last year because inflation was very high. But COLA traditionally has been zero, so you have not seen lifts of your benefits year after year. That's why they want to replace COLA with inflation. Well, where are the two numbers? Your COLA benefits, your COLA number came in December 2021 at 5.9%. So this month, your SSI, SSDI, Social Security Railroad benefits starting in January 2022 went up lifetime 5.9%. Had the president done what I'm about to tell you, your check this month would not have gone up 5.9%. It would have gone up about 7.6%. It's a big difference. It's almost 2 to 3%. What is it? Pick up the phone, contact the Social Security Administration, and say, you know what? Change your guidelines. You're not going to use COLA as the benchmark anymore. You're going to use inflation. Here's what's at issue. That's fifth stimulus. And you don't need a stimulus package to do that. You don't need a bill. You don't need a recon. You don't need progressives. You don't need moderate Democrats. You don't need a vote. You just need to pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administrator and say, change it. The President of the United States could do that right today, and that would be effective next month, lifetime. So suddenly you see 3% more in your wallet overnight. And to answer that one viewer's question, that is where we are. This would be enormous SSI or benefits reform, not just SSI. It would be all reforms. And that reform would be simple as picking up the phone and calling. Now, there's other provisions under fifth stimulus the president cannot do. He cannot remove the asset cap, the income cap, the marriage penalty. He can't do that because those are laws. He can't change a law with a phone call. But the benchmark about how they pay the benefits, he can just pick up the phone and say, I recommend you to do this. When was the last time Joe Biden did this? He did this in October 2020, where he picked up the phone and contacted the Department of Agriculture, said, you're not paying enough money for SNAP, for money for food. I want you to pay more money. He had that conversation, and overnight they started paying at 25% more per month, lifetime, to millions of Americans. That's what Joe Biden can do tomorrow morning. Now, what else can Joe Biden do? Early in this video, I told you he could not do executive orders, where he goes to the Department of Treasury, takes a wad of cash out, and mails it out to you. He can't go to that Department of Treasury. So think about anything that does not involve the Department of Treasury. What can he do besides that? He can repurpose money. That's not in the Department of Treasury. Here is the examples. If there's an agency that has money given to it for a COVID relief package that is now expired, ended, but they have leftover money, he can pick up the phone and say, hey, it's Joe Biden. I want you to repurpose that money as a stimulus check, mail it out right today. The money is not in Treasury. It's in that agency for a program that's expired and they have leftover money. He can do this. It was done one time under the Trump administration and advocated vigorously by me the second time for the Trump administration. And had Donald Trump done it, he would have won the presidency. Let's go over the two examples right now. The most obvious example was the one that Trump did do. FEMA, the Department of Emergency Relief and Management, had a lot of extra money under COVID initially. The programs had ended. So what had also ended was people's unemployment benefits. Now, unemployment, FEMA, they don't go together. They don't make any sense. It's like peanut butter on apples. Some people like it, but they don't really go together. So what did President Trump do? He picked up the phone and called FEMA and said, you know what? Millions of Americans have now lost are no longer getting FPUC, that unemployment boost anymore. It's ended. But you got some extra money, FEMA. FEMA, you got some extra money. So I want you to send out that extra money. And we're going to call it something different than FPUC. It'll be an unemployment boost. It'll be called LWA. States will reach out to you, and if they want the money, you'll give it to them, and that will be an unemployment boost. Sound bizarre that FEMA is doing unemployment benefits? No, it's called repurposing. And that became an actual reality. Now, what was the other opportunity President Trump didn't do, and I think it cost him the presidential elections? It was repurposing $550 billion, which is an enormous sum of money, that was sitting at SBA as a stimulus check. Larry Kudlow, myself, countless analysts, I think even Steve Mnuchin, had confirmed that the Small Business Administration had leftover money for business grant loans under the first and second stimulus packages, amounting to an enormous $550 billion at the tail end of 2020. I said Donald Trump should come in right away, repurpose that money, and send it out as a stimulus check. The programs have ended. It's extra money. The money's not a Treasury. It's sitting in the Department of Small Business Administration. Take the money and send it out. He didn't, and he could have. So can Joe Biden do this today? He can if the money exists. I don't know at the moment if the money exists across the board. Which brings us then back into the incredible sums of money in this incredible recon. Now let's go over each of these incredible checks in this incredible Build Back Better Act, which still can be done after CR for stimulus. That's why CR for stimulus is so good, because if they get one check out under the continuing resolution bill now, then they can come back and still do the Build Back Better Act thereafter and send out that money after that. Let me go over something very clear, because I saw this sort of comments in some of the chats yesterday. Someone said, if they do CR for stimulus, they'll never do something under the Build Back Better Act. Not true. Not true. Remember, the CR for stimulus is not an MSC. You can't get $6,000 of stimulus checks in a continuing resolution. You can't. You get one check, it goes out. You can't get housing aid. You can't get, a new electric car money. This is a continuing resolution. There's not a lot of leeway to add massive sums of money. They can do all that massive sums of money right behind it. And let's go over some of that incredible money in that recon starting right now. They got into that recon lots of money, and I want you to know each of these items. These were all part of the 2021 passage of the recon in the House, now in the Senate. So all those provisions are staying in there because House members' provisions will not be removed by Senate Democrats. They'll just be enhanced. And those provisions, are you ready? Get your pen and paper. Let's take notes. As a Purple Hawk, you want to pounce and get that money before anyone else. They got $72,500 of SALT caps in there with what you can duck and stand local taxes, raise it for $10,000. They got in there the incredible cheaper prescription medication, growing to 30 medications a year, 2028. Medicare Part B, D, the most expensive medications like cancer, arthritis, and diabetes, dramatically sliced and diced in price. They got $40 billion of checks for job training if you want to get a new job and want to be trained for it. They got the incredible Medicaid gap fix. 12 Republican states have vowed never to provide low-income uninsured people insurance But now Democrats with Raphael Warnock and Joe Manchin got in there a workaround plan to provide years of subsidized private insurance to low-income uninsured people in those 12 Republican holdout states. They got in there the housing assistance with $150 billion that includes the two new provisions, which are weatherize your home and home repairs if you live in a low-income community. But the other provisions of the third stimulus are repeated in there, and I'll go over those in just a second. We got in the home care, which is, of course, the free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. The $550 check for the Pell Grant recipients. We got the $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. We got $65 per month per child for nutrition when they're not in school. We got the CTC, $3,600 approximately for one more year. The hazard pay for one more year. The paid leave in there. The earned income tax credit for my hazard pay. The care for people across the board. But then the question is, what about the other provisions that those senators want to add in there? Well, Bernie wants to add in there dental, vision, and also wants to lower the eligibility of Medicare from 65 to 55. He says those provisions are going in there. They haven't been added yet. That's when they would add stuff. Ron Wyden has a lot of stuff to add in there. Liz Warren has a lot of stuff to add in there. But the housing provisions are really the best and the bread and butter. And I'm going to show you how to get that big money right now, because you need thousands of dollars right now. And we'll start with this big money that started itself first right before third stimulus. Right before third stimulus in December 2020, I said there's a lot of money out there for this housing. Let me show you how to get it. Because when third stimulus becomes a law, you're going to get a lot more of this money available. Viewers of this channel got about $250,000 of it in the middle of the end of second stimulus before third stimulus in December 2020. There was a lot of that money around then, and they got it. But as soon as third stimulus became a law, I told viewers of this channel, look how much money they put in this program for you, for this rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And I said I could get you about $15,000. When it became law, the viewers did even better than that. They got on average $45,000. Now, here's what you need to know, is that this is the biggest pay checks in the third stimulus package that you really didn't hear anywhere else. People just focus on a stimulus check, $1,400. I said, $1,400, good. It'll be in the mail. Don't worry about it. That will be in the mail. This is $15,000. It didn't turn into $15,000. It turned into $45,000 in spring 2021. By summer of last year, I said, get another round. I show viewers how to get another round. I'm going to show you in just a second. Then in December 2021, just a month ago, I said, we can get another round this month right now, money right now. We called it Christmas stimulus, more money for rent and utilities and more. Viewers on average got $15,000. Can you imagine $45,000, then money in the summer, and then the winter $15,000? Well, today you can get more money as well. We can get those incredible sums of money because guess what? The money is still there. That's how much they allocated. That's why you watch this channel, because this is what this channel has done. This channel has gotten, I'm still running the calculations. I'll have them for you in a day or two. Somewhere around $50 million this channel has gotten viewership of this channel for these monies from all these packages since the beginning of the pandemic. That's my dedication to getting you these great sums of money, and they're all in there. First, let's start with this rent. This is the money that viewers of this channel got for rent back in October. Now they've gotten upwards of $40,000. Where do you get it? If you're a member of this channel, pull out the newsletter and follow along with me right now. If you're not a member, go on this video and become a member right today. So you're going to get this rent from 6 places. You ready? Write them down. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall and State Housing Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage and utility assistance because of COVID. 3 musts you must do. You must get applications on file everywhere. You must reach out to all 6 places, and you must do multiple rounds. More about those multiple rounds in just a second. Utilities. Wow. Reach out to all utility companies. I knew you got more than one. Reach out to all of them. And you're asking for utility assistance because of COVID. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $15,000 a year. SNAP. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year over the next 10 years, $250,000. This is what we were talking about earlier in this video. Joe Biden raised the amount of SNAP, so people are getting a lot more money for SNAP right now. Next, you want to get 3 items or more. So this shows you the dedication of the viewership of this channel. You aren't holding out your hand and waiting for something to land in there like a donut. You aren't looking at the mailbox all day long. You're picking up the phone and getting sums of money. Here was Mark. He had 2 items. And I said, Mark, you need to get 3 at least. That's why I teach on this channel. Like Nisi and Art Sullivan, they started it. I said, Mark, go get a 3rd item. Watch what happens to Mark's numbers. He goes from 32,000 to then 50,000. Now Mark is far in excess of 100,000 because you heard from me to get those additional programs paid out. Lorraine, she was at 105 and now she's at 120, which tees up the question, what are these additional rounds? A round is when we're referring to more months of more money. If you've had a success story in the last few days and I've not featured on air or not responded to, send me on social media. I've got a 3 in the last few hours. I got 1 last night. Crayola had a big success story. I'm going to feature all of you back on air. Let me tell you what's going on. January 2022. We're watching this video. You may have gotten around before. Maybe you didn't get around. Don't matter. You're going to get around now. You want to look out as far as possible. So try to get the rent, utility, mortgage assistance as far out as possible. Let's try for May 2022. Not possible, then April, then March. Start with the organization you tried for before and got the money from the government, city, county, state housing authority. Then lean on the nonprofits because the nonprofits are replenished every year in January with another round of money. And there you go. That is how you get thousands of dollars today. And it's important to advocate. I haven't featured advocating in this video, but you know I feature it across the board every day. You want to pick up the phone and advocate. And if you want to advocate for CR, for stimulus, do that as well. Pick up the phone and advocate to those legislators and say, we need this money. I need this money. Whether it is the inclusion of money into the recon or inclusion of money into the CR. Advocate to those legislators, tell them why you need these incredible sums of money. Now, with that, let's go over what else is happening that impacts your wallet today. Well, we had a consumer sentiment number that came in last Friday. It was bad. It said consumers are worried about the economy and they're worried about their wallet. Why? Because cost of goods, inflation, are going up faster than their rate of salary increases. So this is a very big concern. And with that concern, I need to address it with you. Inflation had its own universe before Halloween, caused by supply chain and disruption of delivery of products. Then came Omicron. Omicron caused its own inflationary event because Omicron put people out from work, left them home sick, and suddenly if people are home sick, the business costs more to run and the business charges the prices more. That was number 1 add-on for inflation. Then came Russia. Russia is causing its own potential inflationary event. Why? Because Russia is a oil and gas, a lean play. I went to fill up gas this morning. How much is the gas where you are? Jump in the live chat. The gasoline here in Los Angeles at a very basic station, gas station, not a premium gas station, and I'm talking about the cheapest gas, was $5 a gallon. I mean, $5 a gallon. That is enormous. What's at issue? Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin and his potential to invade Ukraine became a big topic of discussion on this channel over 2 weeks ago, where I said, if it continues to circulate as a potential rumor, it's going to impact inflation and impact the financial markets. And guess what? On late Monday, late this week, the United Nations Security Council saw a very, very heated discussion between the Russian ambassador to the United Nations and the U.S. ambassador. The Russian ambassador said that there is no potential invasion, that it's fear-mongering, and that the United States is behind it. The United States said, no. There is 100,000 new Russian troops at the border along Ukraine's eastern leg near Belarus just in the last few days. Why are 100,000 new troops on the edge of Belarus in the last few days? The U.S. called upon the Security Council to address Russia. And this is what U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said. Russia's actions strike at the very heart of the UN Charter. This is a clear and consequential threat to peace and security. Russia fired back during the Security Council meeting. This is not acceptable. We are being asked to do things we don't want to do, said Russia. This body is charged with upholding an order that stands for everything. So really, really tense situation. Number 3. This is one that makes everything very messy. The Federal Reserve was supporting this economy during the pandemic by buying mortgage-backed instruments. That was creating inflation. The Federal Reserve should have stopped it early on. It finally did it a few weeks ago. Now it's coming in with inflation. Now it's coming in with interest rate spikes. What's an interest rate spike? Raising interest rates from the Federal Reserve. This impacts your credit card debt, your student loan debt, anything you buy on interest rates, even your mortgage. We thought maybe one interest rate spike in 2022. At one point, we thought no interest rate spikes in 2022. Then it was one. Then I predicted, 6 months ago, one in spring of 2022. Now, in less than a month, we have gone from one interest rate spike in 2022 to now talks of 5 quarter point interest rate spikes in 1 year. And some reports saying 7 interest rate spikes. Now you can do the math. A quarter times 5 is more than 1%. It's a couple percent. If you have a variable mortgage, if you have credit card debt, if you have student loan debt, you're going to see things cost a lot more money in a very, very quick, short period of time, in about 3 or 4 months, because all these interest rate spikes are coming in. Why are they coming in? Because the Federal Reserve wants to curb inflation. But now there's concerns that that will stunt growth. Messy? Yes, very messy. That's why consumer confidence was very bad last Friday. People saying, I'm not making more money. Things are costing more money. I'm seeing gas go up because of Vladimir Putin and Ukraine. I see the concern that my mortgage may go up because I have a variable mortgage. This is what people are saying. And the variable mortgage may be going up because now interest rate spikes, 5 of them in 1 year. It's getting messy. So let's address some other things. True or false? So is Vice President Harris heading to the Supreme Court? Is she even a nominee for the highest court in the land? No. This reportedly is a Republican fake news story to really basically say that Joe Biden. Let me tell you what the story says. The story says that VP Harris is being considered for the Supreme Court nomination post. It's untrue. Her staff has said it's untrue. The White House says it's untrue. And her former senior advisor and chief spokesperson said it's also untrue. So where's it coming from? It's coming from Republicans who want to say that Joe Biden is so unhappy with Harris that he's trying to get her out of the White House. Okay, so check that off as faux news. Then, Kristen Sinema, are her donations drying up? Well, this one's interesting. Yes or no? So Kristen Sinema in December 2021, last month, had the highest corporate donations she has ever received as a member of Congress. And she actually leads a lot of numbers on how much she got in donations, millions from corporate donors. But a new report today said for personal donations, she literally got almost nothing at the end of 2021. Consistent? Yeah. So this is very interesting that Sinema's personal donations are really drying up across the board. Meantime, are some states now trying to do different things different ways? Yeah, so New York is trying to go after crypto by saying we're not going to allow mining in our state, which could really take out a lot of commerce out of the state of New York. But elsewhere, Wyoming and Arizona is considering allowing crypto as a currency to pay your bills to the states of Wyoming and Arizona, like property taxes or state taxes at the end of the year. Really fascinating across the board. Here's the recap if you just joined the live chat and during this morning's broadcast today. Well, there's a lot of things at issue. The Forced Stimulus Recall, the Build Back Better Act, will get passed, but the urgency to get it passed is really a question mark. Where is the urgency? Pramila Jayapal with that bizarre quote of March 1st is just a bizarre quote. There is no March 1st date. She just sort of picked it out of the sky. CR for Stimulus is really exciting Americans across the board and the viewership of this channel. Created by me on this channel, CR for Stimulus 2022, because it's a way to get money into another bill. If you see another bill besides the budget bill, besides the continuing resolution, you say, Elliot, how about we put a check into that bill? And that bill has to get done. Then send me a message across the board. I'll feature it on air. The Boost Act, is that something you want to get behind? No. So the Boost Act is not a bipartisan legislation. It's a very partisan legislation. It's only supported by a few Democrats. So you would never get a Republican to support it. So you can't look upon the Boost Act as something to help you. You want to use something that has really great bipartisan support. Here's an example. And I don't want to say that this makes sense, but I'm going to show you an example of something that you could get, that you would look to that has to get done. They are going to pass a bill in the Senate by potentially the end of the week to sanction Russia because of Ukraine. Okay, a sanctioning Russia-Ukraine legislation. The group that's doing it in the Senate are Republicans and Democrats. They get along like they're brothers and sisters. They get along really well. They don't like what Russia's doing. They want this done, and they're going to get it done in just a few days. Stimulus check in there. You know what? Anything is possible. But that's an example of something you would want to look at. Something that's absolutely happening, will finish, will get done. And if you like that idea, drop in the live chat or send me a private message. Do you like a stimulus check in a sanction of Russia bill? Because that sanction of Russia bill is going to become law. It's going to become law, faster than, Tom Brady changes his opinion about retiring. It's going to become law very, very quickly. So that is something you want to look across the board. And there you go. You're watching me. Are we new? We are new. I'm live. Emma says, are we new? Hi, Emma. How are you? You're watching me live, Emma. How are you? Join me next on noontime. And then we go into Afternoons LA, which will be new today as well at 3 o'clock. A brand new Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. And of course, Evenings LA has that 5 o'clock show. The 6 o'clock is Evenings Countdown. 7 o'clock is Home Stream Stimulus. And 8 o'clock is Evenings Extra. And with that, make sure you advocate and make sure you push and make sure you stay positive. And always subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, the number 2 financial news channel in America. Currently number 3. Push us to number 2. Tell people to come on over. Tell people to come on watching. Tell your friends and family they want the latest update about how to be financially independent, how to get money, how to get lots of money, how to learn about a lot of stuff. It's all on this channel. Coming up today is more about the metaverse, and a brand new show about how to make money in the metaverse is also coming to this channel as well. Metaverse real estate has gone up substantially in the last few weeks and expected to go over $1 billion by the end of the year, doubling in price. Stay informed, stay focused. A lot of great news and a lot of financial news coming to you throughout the day. I'm excited you join me on this beautiful Mornings LA, and I hope the weather's good where you are. I know it has been very cold in some parts of the country, so stay vigilant. Do not get snowed in, and get your goods bought ahead of time because of the supply chain issues. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Ally for more.